I think Conor McGregor is gonna be dangerous everywhere. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know if you guys see that freaking stupid ass stat, but Conor has like 5 takedowns and 4 of them is me. So it's not only his left hand, he might in his back pocket think, oh, I can wrestle this guy maybe, you know? Yeah. And then everybody keep talking about his leg, but I think Conor kicks, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, there's a lot more than just his left hand, you know? And if Conor's thinking only his left hand, then he's already behind in the fight. So I think so we're gonna see a very dangerous
minute fight. 155 versus 170. But the thing about Conor at 170, he's gonna thump. He's gonna thump. His punches are gonna be heavy and hard. So Max is gonna have to be very, very alert early on. That first 10 minutes of that fight, Max cannot sit there and exchange with him. Conor's gonna be stalking him down, maybe trying to stomp his leg a bit, ripping 3-2s, throwing heavy bouts. So this video here was posted about 5 months ago on the Mac Life page. Him getting ready and looking thick. Thick Conor's a scary Conor, and he's a springy dude. Springy dude. Orthodox there. Ripping bodies, ripping juicers of the guts. We love those. Springing into a left knee. And he's looking like, I mean, vintage Conor. The nasty left hand. Nasty left hand. I guarantee you Max Holloway is not going to be sitting against the fence.
I've never ever made a secret of it. I'm a massive Conor fan, but I'm also a massive Max fan. You know, Conor started coming up when I was just starting out my pro career. His UFC run started. So he was a guy that I genuinely looked up to as I progressed in the sport. Imagine this. Imagine Conor beating Max Holloway and getting that title shot.
I think if there's one guy who can rip up the script, it's Conor McGregor.
As he's done so many times. Yeah. I'm going with the Mac. I'm never going against it. I'm never going against Conor. Yeah, okay. No matter against, like Max Holloway, massive fan, love him. He's a great fighter, and you know he's a deserving of everything that he's gotten and all the praise. But I can't go against Conor.
Where do you think Conor could win the fight?
You know, Conor has that scary timing. He has that scary timing. Everybody that's fought him says that. Yeah. That timing, and he has that sneaky power. Everybody that fights him says when he hits you, you feel it. Yeah. You know, it just takes one. It just takes one. Ilya knocked out Max. You know, it can be done.
Man, I agree that there is a chance Holloway is going to take this fight.
Yeah. Who? If I put you on the spot, who would you pick, and how?
Max. Yeah. Max. I think so. Yeah.
You think he stops him, or could you see this going all 5? Or
I think he's going to stop him.
Yeah.
I think. So.
Yeah, and then it opens up all sorts of interesting opportunities. Like both of them are talking about Gaethje at 55. You know, Islam at welterweight. So who knows? Like there could be a lot of fun stuff. But I think the big thing is, you know, Conor has 1 fight left on the UFC contract after this, and I think he really wants to fight for BKFC at some point. Which
nice. I would like to see Conor in BKFC. I think that's his world. I think he'd shine there. Short rounds. You got, you know, heavy punches. The tricky part with BKFC is, which I think will be fine for him, is just such a tight circle. You know, it's going to be tough for a lot of footwork. But yeah, I think if he's in there and he's landing some of those big Conor punches, that's going to be fun to see. So
yeah, we'll see if he does it or if the UFC breaks the bank to keep him around, depending on the success of this event.
Yeah, I think it ultimately depends on.
Conor McGregor's been out there living his best life. Fair play. Going around the world on his Lamborghini yacht and spending shitloads of dough, right? Fair play to him. But there's one thing he knows how to do, and that's fight. And he knows how to knock people out in the very first round as well. And that first round against Max Holloway is going to be very, very interesting. Max is going to have to be careful. He's not the type of guy to dance around and stay away and just just jab and jog. No, he's going to stand his ground and fight like a man. And that's what's going to make it so dangerous. Because yes, of course, if he gets out of the first round and he goes to the second and the third round, Conor McGregor was never a cardio machine. He was always a guy that tended to fade in the prime of his career. And if he struggled going into the later rounds in the prime of his career when he was coming up, he's certainly going to struggle now when the man's pushing 40 and he hasn't fought in 5 years. Has he trained hard for this fight? Of course he has, 100%. Has he pushed himself harder than what he was doing in 2013, 14, 15? I don't know. I don't know if that's even possible when you have accumulated all the wealth, when you've knocked it out of the park, when you've conquered the game already, do you still have to train quite as hard, right? Because if he has done, then maybe. But even when he was, because he had to have been back in the day, he still got tired the longer the fight.
The clock is ticking, and the buzzing is getting louder and louder as the upcoming match begins to write itself. Predictions from experts, analysts, and ex-fighters are on a roll as everyone chips in on who will emerge victorious from this fight once the cage doors close. Will Conor McGregor's power and headline-making bravado outdo Max Holloway's never-ending pace and volume? The upcoming season, fighters and experts weigh in on who truly holds the edge. Cheering, applause, cheering, applause, applause and cheering, applause and cheering, 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 applause, as Michael Bisping sees this matchup as a high-stakes spectacle. Stylistically, the fight is a nightmare for McGregor. What makes Holloway so dangerous for him is the boxing-based accumulation that breaks opponents over 5 rounds. McGregor can still ignite the crowd with a flash KO. But the smarter storyline favors Holloway's steady breakdown plan and the clock. Guess what? 5 years away from the sport or not, he's still the biggest draw in attraction music in all of mixed martial arts. And I don't think there'll ever be another one. But anyway, he's coming back against Max Holloway, right? It's been 5 years. He's almost 38 years old. Is he out of his mind? Do we think that he can do this? Because when you look at the stylistic matchup, right? It's going to be dangerous for Conor McGregor. Max Holloway, he calls himself the best boxer in the UFC. Max Holloway doesn't have that one-punch knockout power, but he wears people down. And that's why it's Max Holloway that in the final 10 seconds. That's why he points to the ground, not at the start of the fight. Not in the first 10 seconds like Ilia Topuria wanted to do. He doesn't do that because he's not a knockout artist. But when he's landing hundreds, if not thousands of punches in a fight, and he's wearing you down over 5 rounds in those last 10 seconds, yeah. When you're beaten to a bag of a circumflex, he's very confident that he can knock you out. Lucky guess Justin Gaethje. It was that spinning back kick right to the face at the end of round 1. That really started the decline for Justin Gaethje. But then he just picked him apart, used his length, used his footwork, used his reach. Beautiful combinations, of course. Threw that spinning back kick a bunch of times as well. And then in the final 10 seconds got the knockout. One of the craziest knockouts that the sport has ever seen. Furthermore, Brendan Schaub picks up where Bisping left off and draws the fight into sharper focus. McGregor explodes, makes a statement, and often leaves the long haul to someone else. It gives him a clear upside early on. However, Schaub admits the caveat everyone's thinking. If McGregor's ring rush shows, the window for his victory narrows. But against a volume fighter like Holloway, those early advantages matter more than they would versus a pure knockout artist. The fight's narrative could hinge on whether McGregor's sprint turns into a decisive burst or simply the opening act for Max's late rally sequel. Conor's just, he's not a marathon runner, he's a sprinter. By all metrics, he is a sprinter, so you have a decision guy versus a sprinter. And again, one of the advantage for Conor is let's say that ring rust is real for him. Which it well be to feel it out. But let's say it's real and he zigged when he should have zagged. You're probably not going to get knocked out by Max Holloway in the first 1 or 2 rounds. You're still okay. Now if you're fighting an Ilia Topuria, you're fighting some of these other heavy punchers, that's a different story. So again, all this are his advantages for Conor. Now all this is being said, we have no clue what version of Conor we're going to get. Schaub shifts the lens to weight and frame music in his talk with Brian Callen. McGregor is the naturally bigger man who can add meaningful mass without sacrificing music, power. Even if Holloway strolls around near 172, 175.5, the cut to 170, and the fight's pace could blunt his timing and speed. The scale itself could tilt the early Narati.